All right, welcome back to another episode of the Christian Worldview Project. My name is Jordan. We do this primarily and ultimately for the glory of God by presenting the Christian worldview in order to provide a biblical foundation for the defense of the Christian faith. And this ministry is under the oversight of Salitran Covenant Bible Church, a local church in the city of Dasmariñas, Cavite, here in the Philippines, under the care of Pastor Jeremiah Hangad. And if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, make sure to share this video. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future content. And of course, before we start, nais ko lamang sabihin ito that are you looking for a shop that has all your everyday needs? Well, every Pinoy's got you with over 200 products ranging from a very affordable price. Committed sila to make sure that every Pinoy can get their everyday needs at very affordable costs and excellent quality. For the next 2 weeks, all of their products are at deep discounts up to 70%. They also have amazing vouchers, free shipping, and 20% cashback available po sa ating online shopping platforms. All right, so without further ado, ano ba ang special ngayong araw na ito? Well, kagaya ng palaging ginagawa ni Sir Jordan noon pa man, no, not Sir Jordan, Kuya Jordan or Brother Jordan noon pa man is uh, he is he invited a particular person and his name is Erehis and nag-usap na kami before that para hindi rin kayo mag-expect no na this is just a conversational type dialogue basically and I also apologize dahil of course kailangan ko i-grant yung request ng aking guest since hindi naman ito formal debate, it's just conversational, so parang atheist caller. So si Erehis po ay hindi po mag-open or magta-turn on ng kanyang camera for this evening, but yeah, let's pull him up from the backstage. All right. So, sir,
Hello.
yeah, sir, Erehis na lang. Ayoko na mag-sir. So, Erehis,
Yes.
good evening. Yeah, good evening dyan sa lugar
Yep.
ninyo. And I hope
Okay.
it's fine over there. Nag-uulan ba dyan?
I think, umambon ng konti. Oh,
Okay. Yan.
hello?
Same dito sa same dito sa Cavite, Imos Cavite.
Ano?
Medyo maulan, medyo makulimlim, but yeah, so far okay naman ang connection. By the way, are you using your data or are you ano using a much more sophisticated internet
I,
connection?
I hate to tell you this, but I don't have a much more sophisticated internet connection in my area. So
Mhm.
it might get a little bit laggy at times. I hope it's not doing that now. But yeah, I think there will be a bit of interference in terms of connections. But as of the moment, I think it's going well. I hope so.
Mhm. Yeah, on my end, your voice is clear. So, renegable. And I hope na renegable din sa ating mga audience dyan. So, yeah, let's extend charity sa ating guest ngayong gabing ito. Dahil, of course, yeah, kagaya ng sinabi niya, his internet connection is not that stable of a fiber connection. So let's consider that also. So shout out kay Chris Kirby, Mark Lara, Oathkeeper, sino pa ba? Austin Miles na nagtutune in sa atin ngayon. And by the way, yeah, before we start, Erase, could you tell us a bit about yourself without actually revealing your actual name?
So yes, I'm a closeted atheist. Not on the some other platforms on the internet like social media like TikTok. I'm not so closeted in there, but I'm still hoping that nobody from my nobody from my circle finds me there. And I wasn't hoping for it to get big, so that's why I'm a bit more confident there. Not so confident in here because I know I don't know, but I'm thinking that maybe you have high followers, and that maybe there's a good chance that one of them will know me. So yeah, I'm a closeted atheist. I wasn't always this, but as time got by and as I further examined the Christian worldview, I became more and more less convinced of the existence of the deity that Christians have think to be real. Yun. At saka, hindi rin ako Tagalog native speaker. So, I apologize to your viewers or listeners if I sometimes go to English language instead of Tagalog.
Mhm.
Kasi I'm more comfortable with English than Tagalog.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Yeah, kaya nag-i-English din ako eh. Kasi minsan nabubulol din ako sa Tagalog, but but yeah, that's fine. And by the way, Erehis, masyado mang rinig yung echo dito sa
Oh, well,
place ko.
wait.
Ma-echo
Hello.
ba siya? Hindi naman masyado.
Hindi naman. Okay lang.
Ah,
Okay lang.
okay. Yan. Kasi wala kasi ako sa aking studio. Nasa labas ako ng aking studio. But yeah, I hope my audio is fine. And also to those who are watching, I hope you can hear us fine as well. But yeah, let's just dive right into it. So the format of this dialogue is simply conversational. So I will be asking, of course, myself to define to Erehis what I believe, and I also be asking Erehis to define what he believe. And so far, nagbigay naman na siya ng konting introduction sa atin. But yeah, I think it needs to be fleshed out a bit para mas lalo natin maunawaan yung kanyang position. And of course, on my end, para mas lalong maunawaan din ni Erehis ang aking position. And would that be fair, Erehis?
Yes, tama lang.
Ah,
Fair
okay.
naman, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, let's start. So the number of viewers are growing. May you share this video, guys. This will really help. Of course, share good intellectual conversations between opposing worldviews.
Actually,
Kasi
sorry,
most yes.
sorry to interrupt, but can I also get a link para ma-share ko
Oh
rin
yeah.
sa ibang kakilala? Yeah.
Yeah. Sige,
Yeah,
sige.
para more viewers yun.
Copy and paste ko sa comment section po natin. Sa gilid natin,
Okay. Okay.
you can go to the Christian Worldview Project Facebook page. Tapos nandun naman yung
Andun.
link natin. Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
And after that, they can also ask questions from your from your side if there are. So that's also fine. We will go into
yeah.
entertain questions also. Okay, so yeah, my name is Jordan Erehis, and I am a Christian by the grace of God. So, what do I believe as a Christian? I believe that the triune God exists and that there is sufficient evidence for God's existence. And by the way, wala akong script na hinahawakan. So, there is sufficient evidence for the Christian God existence, as opposed to what other atheists have claimed that there is a lack of evidence for the Christian God. And I could identify or mention some of the evidences for the Christian God existence, but of course, these evidence are only consistent if the Christian God truly exists. And disagreements are fine, but for as long as we can maintain a very meaningful and what do you call that? Very meaningful conversation. So that's still fine. Yeah. So there is sufficient evidence for the Christian God's existence, and I really use this triad evidence for the Christian God's existence. We use this in a transcendental fashion also. What we called argument from the impossibility of the contrary. Are you familiar with that, Reis?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, yeah. So argument from the impossibility of the contrary, that if the Christian, or the proof of the truth of the Christian worldview is that if the Christian worldview were not true, you cannot know, prove anything at all. Or the proof of the truth of the Christian worldview is demonstrated in its affirmation, or both in its affirmation and its rejection. And that only in the Christian worldview, laws of logic, objective morality, and induction, which makes science possible, only makes sense. So, in a nutshell, that's the Christian worldview. And of course, we know this. The source of our epistemology is, of course, none other than the scriptures. That's our ultimate authority. We do not dare to bargain our ultimate authority when someone challenges us to put our ultimate authority aside. Say, for example, can you argue for the existence of God without the scripture? So, for us, that demand is an incoherent demand if you want to argue against the
mm,
Christian position, because its epistemology is the scripture or the word of God. It is the same thing as saying that, okay, Mr. Atheist, can you argue without using your ultimate epistemology or ultimate presupposition and whatnot? So we believe that that objection or demand is an incoherent demand if someone is arguing, particularly, ano ba yan, nahawa ako sa pag-i-English mo, against the Christian God. So, yeah, in a nutshell, Erehis, I hope that captures my point. Uh, so, I think yung Q&A is after na siguro na i-present mo rin ang iyong positive case. So, thank you so much for that. So, yeah, it's your time to shine.
okay. Ooh, wait. I'm still trying to process this because this is my first time. So I'm sorry sa mga listeners. My view as an atheist is that there is there's a lack of evidence in the existence of God. Primarily, when you talk about the Bible or you talk about um, any kind of theism, um, I believe that every claim can be said as imaginary, as if unless it's proven to be real. So how can you prove that it's real? There are a lot of ways of proving that it's real. One way is to provide evidence for it. The other way is if you can provide testable predictions or anything, basically anything. It doesn't have to be material, or it doesn't have to be that I can see it or I can hear it, but just something that you can recognize or you can differentiate imagination from reality. So, like for example, if you claim that there's, I think everyone might be already familiar with this, like the teacup that's orbiting the sun. So you can claim that there's a magical teacup that's orbiting the sun, but unless you can prove otherwise, it's going to be still in the realm of imagination or hypothesis. Um, in terms of the Christian worldview, I think I don't have all the materials, or I can cite all the researches the of historians and everyone who are experts on the fields right now, because I am not prepared for that kind of conversation. But I've had a fair reading about it, and I think it still doesn't convince me that the Bible is a word of a higher being. Yeah. So that's why I still remain unconvinced. Yeah.
All right.
So
Yeah, may dudugtong ka pa doon?
My claim, there's actually there's two types of atheism. There's a strong type
Hard.
of atheism,
Yeah.
yeah, the hard type of atheism, which is yun yung usually defined in philosophers by philosophers. So they use that
And
term
the
often.
dictionary. And the dictionary.
Yeah, and the dictionary as well. So and but there's also the softer type of atheism which I hold on to, which actually a lot of modern atheists hold on to right now. And I believe that language is arbitrary. You can just put in, that's basically just a label that you can put on anyone. And as long as we are dealing with the same type of, um, we are actually dealing with the same type of definitions, then I think we can have a coherent discussions about what we're talking about. Yes, so that's it. Yeah.
Yan. Ayos. Success, success, success. Thank you so much
Woo!
for that very wonderful opening statement. So yeah. Would you prefer to go first sa Q&A, magtatanong ka sa akin, or is it fine for me to ask you question first?
Um, Actually, I don't have anything prepared, but either way, I can do either way. So you can ask me first, or I can ask you first. But if you want me to
Okay.
ask you first, I'm gonna
Yeah.
ask,
Yeah, that's fine. That's
what
fine.
makes you think? Um, so, kasi in your opening statement, you said that
Yeah.
your I thought, your source, ultimate source of
Knowledge.
epistemology is the
Yeah.
Bible.
Hmm.
Knowledge is the Bible. Um, so what makes you believe, or what? How do you know that it's actually the ultimate source of everything, or that it actually comes from an ultimate being? And
Well,
yeah,
ay, sige, sige. Continue. Okay na.
and that being entails all the other attributes that you put into it, like um, like the triomnies, and
Mhm.
yeah, that's it. Yun lang muna for the question. I'm sorry, I'm a bit
Are
shaky.
you nervous?
So I'm a bit. This is my first conversation with a Christian, that I am presenting myself as an atheist. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
as I said, I'm
We'll
trust
get
me.
you'll get used to it once I'll be inviting you frequently. So
Hopefully.
yeah, okay, okay. So yeah, and before ko siya sagutin, no, let me also extract the um, the point that ultimate authority, all claims to ultimate authority must be circular in every fashion. So when you ask the question, how do I know that the Bible is the very word of God? Well, ganito. If it is true that the God of Christianity indeed exists, ontologically, if it's true that the God of Christianity indeed exists, and that he revealed himself not only to human beings, but also as he revealed himself to his creatures, he chose people to inspire them and syempre sa unang panahon, no, ang ginagamit kasi nila is scroll, so he chose people to inspire them and write their testimonies, their interaction with God. So sa pamamagitan nung tinatawag natin na providential, ano kasi, argument from providence. If this God indeed exists and he revealed himself to his creatures, he uses his people to justify his existence, although, of course, ultimately, God justified his own existence, pero ipinadaan niya ito through his creatures para ma-document yung mga events na nangyayari in history. So, I think it's more reasonable to believe, yeah, Brother Jeff, medyo ma-echo. That makes reasonable that makes Christianity a reasonable belief. So that led me to believe, of course, it's by the doctrine of regeneration that led me to believe in Christianity. But if 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 the question only seeks to ask, how do I know that that the Bible is the very word of God? Yun lang yung pinaka, I think, the most sufficient answer is the argument from providence. If God truly exists and He revealed Himself to His creatures, and that He justified His own existence through His creatures, such that these creatures can document, masakit daw sa tenga,
Not on my end.
and that these creatures, nawala tuloy ako, ulit. So God
Yeah.
exists and that He revealed Himself to His creatures. Lapit ko na lang yung ano ko sa mic. Okay. That He revealed Himself to His creatures such that these creatures can document what actually happened in history. And not only that, while yung history na nangyayari or yung events na nangyayari sa history, actually God also upholds that history. For example, prophecies, 'di ba? For example, prophecies. So, in order for prophecies to actually happen in the future, God must providentially carry the universe to its destination. Does it make sense, Erehis?
Yeah, and you're yeah, I think it does. So
Mhm.
oh yeah, does it? Do we have to take turns asking questions, or should we
No.
supplement?
Sige, bigyan kita ng mga 15 minutes to ask question.
Uh, okay, so basically, it's I don't necessarily see any difference between that claim and claim from other types of theists like Hinduism and the likes, because they
Mhm.
like Hinduism, um, Islam. What do you
Mhm.
call it? Yeah, Islam. I think. Um, so it's basically just for me, all those are just claims, um, and it's more questionable for me because those when you talk about the Bible, which is your source of knowledge, as you
Mhm.
said, the I think the historian consensus about that is that it's basically written like 30 to 40 years after the fact, one of which I think is sorry one of the reasons why they think that is that the Bible, or the earliest manuscript on the Bible, is actually written in, I think it's in Greek, or yeah, I'm not sure, but the
First in Hebrew and then in Greek.
people, Hebrew and Greek, yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you for that. But the speakers or the native languages from Jesus, or from the time when it could be when Jesus was alive, was Aramaic. So that is ano, one of
Native
their
language. Mhm.
yeah, one of their parang proof that it is actually later, and that wasn't actually written at the time as it was going on, but
Mhm.
it was passed on by word of mouth.
Okay. Well, of course, hindi naman namin dinedeny no that there are of course also claims which I believe na hindi rin kayang suportahan ng consistent or coherent uh, evidences. Ganito na lang ano, Irehi, since the both of us will be presenting our uh, evidences here at the very least. So let me ask you this question. If kasi sinabi mo kanina 'di ba na same lang ng claim ang mga Hindus. Of course not. That's false. Wala pa ako narinig na Muslim that can argue argument from the impossibility of the contrary. Same as with Hindus. Ang Hindu ay polytheistic in nature. So they can't argue actually in similar to our argument. Sa Muslim naman, they cannot, although I recognize that the Islamic religion is the parang sila yung parang the most um, heavyweight competitor of of all sorts of forms of theism. Pero when it comes to deep philosophical questions, actually, and theological question also, nagfe-fail din ang Islam pagdating dito. Like for example, if we're going to talk about justice, which from the perspective, is it a Christian perspective or Islamic perspective, nagkakaroon ng sense ang justice. Sa triune God ng Christianity, merong sense. Sa sa monotheistic Unitarian ng Islam, of course, it doesn't make sense. But hindi natin dadalhin doon yung discussion natin. But let me ask you this question. You may grant this as a, of course, hypothetical, di ba? Um, if the God of Christianity indeed exists, Erehis, is it possible for him to reveal himself to his creatures? Yes or no?
If then yes.
Okay. So it's possible for him that he revealed himself to his creatures, and that these creatures, God can inspire them in order for them to document prophecies and interactions with God. Would that be possible for God?
If then yes.
Okay. So, ang labanan kasi natin dito ngayon, Irehis, is not with the evidence that we're going to present, because I believe na there are a lots of sources arguing against the Christian position that also provides evidence.
There
And
is.
sa Christian position naman, yeah, sa Christian position naman, kagaya nga ng presentation ko kanina, that there is sufficient evidence and coherent ang mga evidence na ito sa Christian position. But, of course, none of us will never be persuaded with those evidences that or evidence that we're going to present. Instead, ang invitation ko sa iyo ngayon is to find an internal incoherence sa Christian worldview. If may makita kang internal incoherence, then therefore the Christian worldview is truly yours, false. So, kaya tinanong ko sa iyo, if this God exists, would it be possible for him to reveal himself to his creatures? You said yes. Would it be possible for him also that he can inspire people in order for these people, through these people, na maitala, ano ba yan, Tagalog? They can document
Okay
what
lang.
happens in the events happened in the past. You also said yes. Then with that argument from providence, I think it's reasonable enough to believe in Christianity, or to believe that this Bible that we have right now, which God preserves, is still true.
The problem with that, my problem with that argument is that it's not actually, it's always all based on hypothetical. If this, then of course that. If this, of course that. So if the God of the Bible is true, then it would follow that the God of the Bible is true, right? So we don't necessarily really have the thing that I have mentioned in my beginning, in my intro, which is we can't really actually, based on that, we can't actually differentiate between reality and imagination, because it's still in the hypothetical mode. So it's,
No.
of course, it's not incoherent because I'm granting it.
Thank you for granting
So
that.
it's yeah, it's not incoherent because it's just granting it. So it's just like saying if the God of the Hindus is true, then if the God of the Hindus is true, if the God is of
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 course
the
not. That's
of
totally
Islam is
different.
true. Wait, if I'm
Yeah.
granting it, If I'm
That's
granting
totally
your
different.
claim, I can
Mm-mm.
also grant their claim as well,
No.
right? Yes, I
I
can
mean,
grant their claim.
no. What I mean is that yung necessary conclusion na ginawa ko for Christianity won't be the same as the conclusion of the Muslim. Why? Because again, the very concept ontologically of God sa Hindus and Islam is totally different. So I don't see that as the necessary inference or conclusion sa argument na ginawa ko kanina.
Well, actually,
Have you
right.
heard a Muslim try argument from providence or even a transcendental argument?
Oh no. Of course, you have different arguments. Some might even say, or the Islamic people might even say that they have different arguments that you cannot provide. You don't have the same arguments. But basically, what we're going down, or the root of this, is that you all have claims, although they different claims. Yeah, yes, granting that, but
Hmm.
you still have. Um, I think that you still didn't meet the necessary requirements that I think would be able to will be able to differentiate um, the reality from imagination. So
Well,
it's still just claims versus claims of others. So
how
like,
can that be not an answer in regard to its conformity to reality if the God of Christianity indeed exists? So basically, and we'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that later, Chris Kirby. We'll get to that later, Chris. So ang issue kasi dito, kaya nga sinabi ko sa iyo, yung granting dito, Erehis, is not just granting na para makita mo lang simply na merong internal incoherence. Well, that's first. Pero ang purpose dito sa ang tinatawag nating internal worldview critique, okay?
mhm.
Since ang paliwanag ko nga kasi kanina is that you have evidence on your side, we also have evidence on our side. So, we believe that Christianity is true. Hindi lang ito hypothetical. So,
In your end,
but
but on
since
my
yeah,
end,
but
I'm just granting.
since yeah, but since and I agree with that. But since you don't believe in Christianity, well, for the sake of argument, you must find an internal incoherence. If you cannot, then therefore Christianity remains consistent. If there is an internal incoherence, then yours truly, Christianity is false. Yun ang challenge na ibinibigay sa inyo ng isang presuppositionalist ngayong gabi. So so so
Okay, so
so you may sagit lang. You may say na hypotheticals lang yan sa realm mo, but kaya nga you must argue inside or from the inside at halughugin mo if there are internal inconsistencies or incoherence. So, regardless naman doon kasi kung meron ka makita or wala, you will still be not convinced that Christianity is true. And that's not the issue of tonight's dialogue because both of us are here because we disagree with one another. Di ba?
yes, I agree
Oh,
with that.
yun. Oh,
We are here because we disagree with one another, but
yeah.
I am not here to find inconsistencies in your internal worldview. So I'm just here to present myself as an atheist. Why I don't believe in your worldview. Of course, if you're gonna construct your own worldview, you're gonna find ways to make it consistent. And if I grant every ways inside your worldview to make it consistent, which you made sure to be consistent, of course, then that would be consistent, right? I can't find inconsistencies in a worldview that you have already constructed based on the ontology of reality to make it like fit reality. So you can say that this might be the cause of this because of this and that, but it's your internal worldview. So in your internal worldview, of course, you can make it fit. Parang pwede mo siyang gawin I'm sorry, I can't really speak in Tagalog. I'm so sorry, guys. So you can make it wind around seamlessly, but in the end, my claim or my standpoint in this is it's not for me. I'm still an Erehis or I'm still an atheist because for me it doesn't having a consistent worldview, which are based on the consistency alone of the arguments, and we can't find a pathway to the ontology behind the epistemology. So that's why I remain unconvinced. So
Yeah,
I'm
and
not here to find inconsistencies in
yeah,
your work.
and kagaya nga ng sinabi ko sa inyo, being convinced is not the issue here. You're convinced that being an atheist is true, and I am 100%, 1000% convinced that Christianity is true. However, hindi yun yung issue and point of contention natin dito. So basically, sa sinasabi mo ngayon, are you saying that you cannot falsify Christianity in an internally?
Internally in your own
Yep.
worldview.
Yep. You cannot falsify that.
Not as of now because I haven't prepared for that kind of conversation. I was just here for the internal. I mean, for introductional. I wasn't actually sure what we're gonna talk
Introductional
about.
dialogue. Yeah.
Yes. So I wasn't actually sure what we're gonna talk about, but I would like to present my own critiques about the Christian worldview.
Yeah.
If
I
I
would love to hear all of
am
them.
well prepared, yes. If when I'm well prepared for that.
Ah,
So
okay.
one of those contentions, of course,
Next
is
time, next time.
evidence based. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Pardon me? Pakiulit nga.
Yeah, sorry. One of contentions I have is evidence based. The others are argument based. So aside from my intro that we cannot identify based on arguments alone, we cannot identify the soundness of the argument or its connection or what pathway we have to go, or we can find a pathway into the ontological truth of that claim of those arguments. So yeah, that's basically it. And just I'm not convinced because it's one claim about ontology or the yeah one claim about ontology, which is the Christian worldview, for me um, is not above the other worldviews that's presented, like pantheism, naturalistic pantheism, or any type of theism. Yeah, because they can everyone can everyone can construct a coherent worldview based on their imaginations or based on their
I don't think so.
arguments.
That's an
I think so.
arbitrary statement. That's an
Yeah,
arbitrary statement. And di ba, that's an arbitrary statement and a universal statement at the same time that everyone can construct their own worldview that
yeah.
has an internal incoherence in it. Ang
No,
question ko dyan sa
has
claim na
no.
yan, ang question ko sa claim na yon is, have you observed every single belief system para masabi mo na everyone can imagine a coherent worldview?
I don't have to examine everyone's
So it's
worldview, but I
assumed.
can create my own worldview, which is coherent in the internal, but it doesn't correspond to ontology or to reality.
Erehis. Erehis. But do you recognize when you say I can, that
Yes,
claim, yeah, that claim doesn't necessarily prove that everyone can imagine an incoherent worldview.
no, no. I think you're having a misconception about the term "I can" versus the term "everyone does." So I'm
Yeah,
not saying
because you just
everyone
made.
has. I'm not saying everyone has coherent worldviews. Like, for example, pantheism or Islam religion. I'm not saying all of those claims are consistent. I'm saying everyone can make consistent claims within the internal view. So by me saying I can entails everyone can too. Not I'm not
How do
saying
you know that?
like the wait. I'm not saying that everyone, even children or everyone those that don't have
Eh,
capacity, but
but
they
that's a
have the
universal statement.
possibility.
But
They
but
have,
that's a
yes,
universal
sure,
statement.
sure,
Yeah.
but they
Okay.
have the possibility. They have possible. They have the possible. It's still in the realm of the possibility that they can. So that's why I use
So
can
basically, you
instead of
cannot prove
does.
that. So basically, you cannot prove that 100% that if you can, then therefore everyone can.
No.
Okay, that's fair.
So where do we go?
May idudugtong ka pa? Hindi,
Well,
sa akin
do we
okay na
end?
yung sagot mo.
Okay.
Okay. May question ka pa?
Um, for now, I think
Turntables tayo.
everything is okay. I think
Okay.
I like the how the conversation went.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Me too.
yeah. So thank you so
Wala pa
much.
namang nagrereklamo. Wala pa namang nagrereklamo na nag-English tayo at dumudugo yung ilong nila.
Hindi, sorry talaga.
But yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine.
I'm
That's
so
fine. That's fine.
yes. Yeah.
Okay, so
Sorry
so
everyone.
so let's move on. I want to ask this question. By the way, hindi pa hindi pa ako ano ha, hindi pa ako yung tipong lumalalim pa tayo sa discussion, but yeah, this is since this is our first time. Nandun pa lang tayo sa surface Christianity. Wala pa tayo dun sa mga deep intellectual proofs. Oo. And that's fine. Maybe we can do
Yeah.
that some other time. And by the way, I really appreciate how our conversation has been going right now. But let me ask you this question. Um, what could convince you that the Christian God exists?
Simply the pathway to ontology between the worldview and ontology. So
What do you mean by that?
just like in my opening statement, um, in order for I think for me to be reasonably in order for a belief to be reasonably held, I think there should be a pathway to ontology, meaning you can differentiate between reality and imagination. So for me, those are just claims for now. But if you can provide maybe a pathway that we can discern that it's instead of it's just in our heads or it's just an imagination, it exists in ontology or it exists in reality.
Yeah,
So that would be
yeah, but do
the
you
thing that can,
recognize yeah, but do you recognize that in saying that that is just a claim, you're also making a claim
yeah,
that
sure.
is not justified.
How? That's your claim. For me, it's not justified. So I'm saying that's your claim. If it's a justified claim, then there should be a justification.
Yeah, but okay. So ganito na lang. Tawid natin. What is reality? How do you know what's real?
Um, no, in the general sense of the word, or like grab like in the essence of reality, I don't think anyone can actually see, or I don't think anyone can actually know what is actually real. Because um, may mga tinatawag na tayo na hard solipsists, those people that claim that we could be just brains in the vat in a bath. I don't know, in the vat.
Ganon ka ba? Ganon ka ba?
No, I'm not that. I'm not that since.
Okay. Kasi ikikik
But
kita. Joke lang.
I don't like talking. Sorry. Yeah, I think we have that similarity. I'm not a hard solipsist as well.
Very good.
But no one can actually disprove that.
So,
But I got from that.
okay. So, meron kang statement, sabi mo, a universal statement to. I
Mhm.
don't think that anyone can actually know what's real. How do you know that?
Because I don't know.
Yeah, if you don't know, then how
Yeah,
do you
I
know
don't
that
actually know.
no one can actually know what's real?
Yeah, I could be wrong.
No, that's not my question. If you could be wrong,
No.
my question is, you have a positive statement that you think. You think uh, no one can know what's actually real, right?
No one can actually know what's actually, yeah,
Yeah,
what's real.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a
Yes.
universal statement. So
Mm-hmm.
ang question ko doon, if you cannot know, then how do you know that no one can know what's actually real?
Um, I don't know that as well. That's part of my I don't know, which
Okay,
is,
fair,
yeah, I
fair,
think consistent.
fair. So I hope yung mga nasa comment section ay nag-enjoy sa aming conversation. All right? So, gumagamit ka rin ba ng mga arguments to disprove Christianity, Erehis, na for example, may mag-present sa na isang classical apologist and sasabihin nila na like for example, argument of the first mover or argument from the first cause, then God is the ultimate cause, so on and so forth. And
Mm-hmm.
then normally ang common response na naririnig kasi natin doon, 'di ba, is well, pwede kong gamitin 'yan sa flying spaghetti monster thing. Gumagamit ka ba nun to
Um,
somehow uh yeah, go ahead.
I won't say I do, but I don't know what. Hindi ko alam kung may instance ba na magagamit ko yun. But basically, there are different responses to different types of arguments, like teleological, ontological,
Yeah, five.
kalam, and
Cosmological argument.
yeah, watchmaker argument, everything.
Uh,
So there are different types of arguments that can be put in front of those arguments.
okay. So kasi karaniwang naririnig ko kasi yan sa mga atheists, lalo na yung sa mga YouTuber na atheist din na in fact, meron nga nag-try na mag-debunk ng argument ko from the impossibility of the contrary. They replace Christianity sa name na the invisible pink unicorn, mga ganon. And noong last week ay nag-speak ako sa isang particular community regarding God's existence, and I actually presented that there are no um paano ko ba sinabi yon? Walang kahit anuman ang makakapag-convince sa atheist that the Christian God exists. Do you agree with that?
I don't think so. As I've said earlier in my
Na
in
the
my
path to
opening,
ontology.
yeah, yes,
Uh,
yes.
uh,
We can connect the arguments to reality. Then.
yeah. Ang question ko doon ngayon is how do you know na yung person na nag-explain nito is actually demonstrating the true path to ontology.
If we can identify or if we can differentiate uh, imagination from reality.
But you
So
cannot
if
know.
everything exists in imagination, like for example, I'm holding an what do you call this alcohol bottle right now. So I can
Mhm.
imagine, I can say that I'm just imagining this, but I
Mhm.
can tell you that it exists in our term, our what do you call it, our usage
As a
of
concept.
reality. Yeah, I can differentiate that it's not imaginary because I can hold the bottle. I can let someone hold the bottle and confirm it for me. I can see the bottle. I can smell it. So I think one way to prove or disprove an existence, no, just to prove the existence of a thing is through our perceptions or through our what they call this hearings, seeing, smelling. One, that's one. But if you can, if like for example, if one person can identify another way to prove that um, the supernatural exists, then if that can be discernible from imagination, then I would believe it if
Yeah.
it's, yeah, if it's reasonable
Okay.
enough.
Okay. So paano mo ngayon mabibigyan ng distinction yung imagination and reality if babalikan natin yung statement mo that you cannot even in yourself you cannot even know what's real.
What? Sorry. If
Um
kung
kung sa sarili mo hindi mo alam yung real, then how are you able to distinguish between imagination from reality?
well, we can the ultimate sense of reality. I think no one can. But in our own definition of reality, or the things that we can observe around us, that we can use our perceptions to feel, to touch, that then that would entail that it exists in the local term reality that we know. Like for example, if you can touch it, if you can smell it, then that those are not the only ones. Those are not the only types of um, if you can call it epistemology or way to know
Yeah.
if it
Descartes, parang si
exists.
Descartes, parang si Descartes, no?
Yeah.
Local reality, parang si Descartes,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
si Rene Descartes. Yeah, no problem. Sige. Naunawaan ko yung point mo, but the thing is,
Thank you.
yeah, but the thing is, um, naniniwala ka ba that statements has truth value in it?
Statements has.
Truth value.
Can you elaborate more on
Okay.
that?
Statements when I say statements has truth value, for example, I say I exist. Is that true? So it could either be true or false via law of excluded middle.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
so when you say I don't think anyone can actually know what's actually real, do you recognize that that statement has truth value in it also?
Um, I think it can correspond or it cannot correspond in reality. So
But it
if in that sense that's what you're saying as truth value, then yeah,
mhm.
it can
But
be
it,
true or it can be
so
false.
So it's that is that statement true or false?
No one knows. I don't know for
How
sure in the ultimate sense of the word reality.
so if you cannot know,
No,
then
for sure.
you cannot
No,
know
for
for
sure.
sure. If you can't know for sure, then how do you know for sure that no
No,
one
I
can
don't
know
know
for
for
sure?
sure. I don't
Okay.
know for sure.
Because you have again because you
Make a
have
question.
a series of universal claims and gusto kong i-dissect yon,
Hmm.
lalong-lalo na itong I believe kasi it is very important lalong-lalo na sa realm of epistemology. By the way, that's my favorite na pinag-uusapan, yung
Hmm.
area ng epistemology. How do you really know what you really know?
Hmm.
So tell me one thing at least that you know. Siguro yung I exist. Say, but yeah,
I
tell
exist.
me.
Yeah,
Okay. So how do you know that you exist?
because I think
But do you recognize that that is also a circular argument, right?
it is tautology.
By nature, tautologies are circular in nature.
If it's a tautological argument, but I'm using it
Yep.
in the inference, in the rule of inference
Yeah.
um, sense.
Yeah. By nature, tautologies are circular, right?
If it's an argument, so but I'm not
Yeah,
using
if
it
it's an
in
argument.
that sense. I'm not using it in that sense. I'm using it in
Yeah,
the
but
logical inference sense of the
yeah,
word.
but when I
That it
ask, yeah,
always
but
remains true.
okay. Yeah, but when I ask you, how do you know that you exist? Ang sagot mo, because I think. By
Yes,
thinking, you're already assuming your own existence because no one can think if they don't
yes,
exist, right?
yes. That
Yeah,
is entailed. That is inferred. So that's why I'm saying it. I'm using the inference rule of logic on that one.
yeah.
So in that sense, not in the argumentative sense.
Yeah, but still that
So are you familiar with
begs the
the
question.
inference rules?
Yeah, but still that begs the question, how do you know that you think, that
Because
you are a
it's
thinking
inferred.
thing? Yeah.
I think I already answered it by saying that it is. I'm using the term tautology from the rule of inference. So if I'm saying that it's in the rule of inference, it's already inferred by saying that I think infers I exist, because no one can think and not exist at the same time.
Yes,
So
that would
that
be
for sure I know.
self-contradictory. Mhm.
Yes.
But yeah, first question, 'di ba? Tell me one thing you know sa mo I exist. Question ko, how do you know you exist? Sabi mo, I think. So, ang
Hmm.
susunod na question ko is, how do you know that you are a thinking thing?
Because I think.
Yeah, but how do you know that you are a thinking thing?
Because I think.
So, dito, Erehis, maipapakita ko sa iyo yung beauty ng the Christian worldview. How we answer
Hmm.
that kind of, yeah, how we answer that kind of, those kinds of, I believe, deep philosophical questions also. Of course, dahil hindi lahat dito ay inclined sa Cartian view, cogito ergo sum. Um,
Hmm.
ganito ko siya ina-address, Erehis, and I
Yeah.
hope na you will listen to this with an open mind. How do I know that I exist? First of all, I know that I exist because God created us in His image and likeness. So you see, our justification that we exist is outside of our existence. Because in order for our knowledge to be justified that we exist, the knowledge of that, or the justification of that knowledge, must be outside that knowledge, or else we will be running in circles. Now, I know I exist
Sorry.
because,
Can I
yes,
interrupt?
yes, interrupt.
Um, didn't you just said earlier that uh, our ultimate foundations necessarily have to be circular?
Yeah,
Yeah. So that is my ultimate source. I think.
you think, but again, ang problema kasi doon, Erehis, is that you when you try to justify, or nung tinanong kita na, how do you know that you are a thinking thing?
Yes.
Yeah,
Circular. Yeah.
ang pinaka sagot mo na lang doon at nag-stop ka na doon sa sagot na yun is I think. At
Yes.
pinapakita ko sa iyo dito, I mean, if I'm going to grant that that is your stopping point, then wala na talaga ako mapipiga sa sagot mo na yon. Now, ang
Yes.
ipinapakita ko kasi sa iyo dito, Erehis, is the difference of how we justify that we can know that we exist. Knowledge.
Yes, we
Sabi
can
ko nga
know.
sa iyo,
Yes,
yeah,
knowledge.
sabi ko nga sa iyo,
The fact. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Sige.
yan yung area of interest ko, the
Yeah.
epistemology. How do I
Yep.
know that I exist?
Yep.
Versus sa version mo na how do you know you exist? Because you think. How do you know that you are a thinking thing?
Mm-hmm.
Because you think. How do you know you are a thinking thing?
It's
Because again,
exactly
you
the
think.
same.
Yeah,
Which is
but
exactly the same with your
yeah,
own
no, no, no,
Bible,
no,
right? How do you know the
no.
Bible is true? Because God exists. How do you know that God exists? Because the Bible is true, right?
The difference, no, no, the difference
You said
between
earlier,
us,
you already admitted
Erehis.
earlier that the foundation of our ultimate foundation of truth
Yes,
must
must be
necessarily be
circular.
circular.
Yes, and hindi ko sinabi, kaya nga sabi ko, if I'm going to grant that, at least sa difference natin, or sa conversation natin ngayon, maide-demonstrate ko sa iyo yung difference nating dalawa.
Okay, sige, sige.
How am I, as a Christian, can justify my own existence?
Outside
You,
of your
yeah, you as an atheist, how will you justify your own existence? Nothing but circular. Me,
Mhm.
I can justify my own existence outside. I have a justification outside of my existence. The knowledge that I
Which
exist,
is
yeah, the knowledge the knowledge of my existence is justified outside of my own existence.
which is also a
which
circular thing.
is yung ultimate foundation na nun, 'di
Yes,
ba? Oo.
yes.
Pero hindi yung knowing that I exist. Naka mo yung distinction.
Yes, yes, yes.
Ah,
So
okay. So,
I
yun
think
lang yung dine-demonstrate ko sa iyo.
okay, okay. So I think there is one also way. One key difference between us is that I stop where I should stop. It's the only thing I know for sure. That
We
I
also
think.
stop when we we also stop with
Wait,
our
wait, wait.
ultimate
No,
epistemology,
you don't.
right?
No, I think the ultimate foundation. My ultimate foundation is that I think, therefore I am. Your ultimate foundation is, as you
We
said
are,
nga,
yeah.
outside from your own knowledge, outside
Mhm.
your own. So, in my own claim, in my own foundation, it's already justified because we already know that we think. We already know we think, then therefore we already exist. So that's how far I can go. Now, saying that there's also no, there's you can't stop there. There is more ultimate than the fact that you exist. Then so that more ultimate thing is then another step of the ladder. So you're just putting another step of the ladder, which is the foundation of that itself is also circular, which cannot be proven to be true by your own admission because that's outside of your own knowledge.
Of course, it can.
Yes, it's outside of your own knowledge, right? So um it's not justified in your own knowledge. So you're just saying
Of
that
course, it's
there's this one
justified.
thing which is also circular, but then the question would be, how do you know that that circular um, foundation of yours is true? Yeah, which is you said circular.
Hindi, kasi
So
ang
yeah, yun
nakikita
lang.
ko kasi dito, Erehis, is you're equating proof as being convinced. If you are not convinced with the
Mm,
evidence or the argument, then therefore hindi siya equivalent sa proof. Kagaya nga ng
mm,
nilinaw ko kanina, 'di ba, na we are here to talk about our differing worldviews and
mm.
invite you in an internal worldview critique. Pinakita ko sa iyo yung difference, how I justify my own existence na hindi circular. You define your own
Yes.
existence, yeah, sa pamamagitan ng circular reasoning. And para sa akin, if you claim na yun yung ultimate starting point mo, well, kaya kong
It's
i-grant yun.
justified.
Yeah, kaya kong i-grant yun. Justified siya sa pamamagitan ng circular reasoning. Sa
Mm-hmm.
akin, sa akin, sa akin, yung existence ko, yung knowledge ko sa aking existence, hindi siya justified sa pamamagitan ng circular reasoning. Rather, pupunta lang ako sa aking ultimate authority. At yung ultimate authority ko, doon na ako titigil. Dahil yun na yung by nature circular. Nakita mo yung distinction?
Yes,
Oo.
yes, which is also
So,
circular. So you're just
yeah.
again, yun lang sabi ko. Your may distinction tayo in wherein
Pero at least,
I'm yes,
pero at
I'm
least, sige, continue ko muna. Pero at least, my knowledge, the knowledge of my existence is justified outside and not, and I have avoided being circular. In your viewpoint, there's no way out.
I'm sorry. Ano ulit yun? Sorry.
The knowledge,
Distract ako.
yeah. Sorry. The knowledge of my existence is justified outside of that. Now, in your
Yes.
viewpoint, there's no way out.
Yes. But
Okay.
there's no way out in your own viewpoint as well. In your
Again,
ultimate
again,
sense. Again, I'm just saying na
na,
you're
nag, nag,
unnecessarily putting something on top of what we
nag,
already
nag,
know, what we actually
nagbibigay ka
already know.
kasi, yeah, but nagbibigay ka kasi ng additional commentary when in fact the issue is the knowledge of our existence. How is it
Yes.
justified? Hindi
Yes.
hindi dito
So,
usapan, hindi dito usapan yung ating ultimate yung aking ultimate epistemology. Ang pinag-uusapan natin dito is yung how can you justify that without being circular? Sa inyo,
actually,
sa iyo, you cannot. Sa akin, I can. So yun lang yung pinapakita ko difference because in the very first place, then dinemonstrate ko na sa opening statement ko kanina na ang presuppositional apologetics argues for its truth ultimately from the truth of the scripture. 'Di ba?
Yes, which
Oh,
is
'yun.
circular, right?
So hindi siya yung tipong ano, yung tipong parang okay, this is circular and yours is circular, then therefore
It
this
is.
is
So,
this is false and yours is also false. Hindi yun yung way
yes.
of way of how I communicate philosophically. I
Okay.
hope I
So,
hope nagiget mo yung point ko.
yes, yes, yes. You're just saying that I stop at, well, let me steal man kung ano yung sinasabi mo. Um, you're saying that is it a bad thing that I stop at the point where I can verify na I exist. That's the only thing I can verify for sure. Right. So I stop there.
Is that a question?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
pakiulit nga.
sorry. Is it a bad thing for you to say? If it is it a bad thing for me to say na I should stop at where I
I
at the point at which I can verify. So it's the only thing that I can verify for sure that I exist. So I stop there.
Not bad in a sense of purely evil, but philosophically, I think that that's a vicious circular one.
Mhm.
While yeah, philosophically that's a vicious circular one. It's an arbitrary argument. Na yeah,
Not it's not. I don't think it's arbitrary because we can already know that it's true.
yeah, because you are already
It's
assuming your own existence in order for you to think. So nasaan
no.
yung
I'm not
nasaan yung
assuming.
rationality
No, no,
behind
no, no.
that?
Wait. I'm not assuming my existence in order for me to think. I think, therefore, it infers my existence.
Erehis. Erehis. Do you recognize na in order for a human being to think, he must exist, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I've been saying.
Yes. So basically by saying I think, in order for you to utter those words, you must exist. Your existence is
Yes,
already assumed in the statement of I think, or before you even say the statement I think.
yes,
Yeah. And that
right.
and
So
that's why
we
and
can
that's why I say
verify that fact, right?
said na arbitrary 'yon dahil parang wala ka
Why?
ng dahil wala ka ng hear me out. Dahil parang wala ka ng pinrove na point dahil in order for you to think you must be a thinking thing, 'di ba? And
Yes. So
and
it's not
and
arbitrary, right? Because it's actually real. It's actually
I'm not
objectively
I'm not
real. It's
denying
not arbitrary.
I'm not denying na it's actually real. But again, sabi mo nga sa statement mo, you can't know what's real for sure.
Yes, but it's but the thing we're talking about now is the arbitrariness of the statement. I think.
Yeah. And kaya nga sabi ko, ano pa ang pinoprove mo sa thinking sa statement mo that you are thinking when in fact you are already in existence before you can even utter such statement that you can think, you must
Mhm.
presuppose that you exist.
No, I think infers my existence. I'm not presupposing anything. I'm not presupposing my existence. I think. I the fact that I think
Do you not assume your
infers.
own existence right now while arguing?
No, no.
No.
I know
So
for a
do
fact
you do
because I
you
think. No, I think. Again, I think. Therefore, I am. I
do
think.
you
I'm thinking. I'm
sige
a
sige
thinking
tuloy
being.
mo.
I know that I'm a
Mhm.
thinking being. Therefore, I exist. It's inferred with I think. It's not. I'm not. I'm not presupposing my existence. I. I think. I have sentience. I know that I think. Therefore, it infers. It's inferred in the word I think. So it's inferred. It's not
Sige.
presupposed.
Okay, Erehis, do you recognize, ito yung pinaulit-ulit ko kanina eh. Dinedeny mo na you are not presupposing or assuming your own existence right now. Ontologically, Can you have this conversation without assuming your existence? Ontologically.
Yes, by knowing that I think,
So
because
basically,
I think, right.
basically ano, Erehis, ano ba, nag-i-exist ka ba ngayon o hindi?
I exist. That's
Yeah,
I think
okay.
we've
So
already
it's
established
yeah,
this.
so it's yeah. However, ang struggle natin kasi is philosophical. So I think sige, kung yun yung resolve mo, ito yung sagot ko doon para hindi na tayo mag-chase ng so many rabbit holes. I think you are by saying a statement that you think, in order for a human being to actually utter such a statement that he think or he can
If you
think.
can, no, it's I think you're equivocating between the utterance of the word, but ontology, because ontology, or your knowledge about your existence, is inferred by the fact that you are thinking being. So by the fact that I can say it is irrelevant from the fact that I know that I exist because I think. Okay, maybe it's true.
Pakiulit nga. May pumansin sa akin, may tumango sa akin. Di ko tuloy narinig.
Oh, it's
Pakiulit.
okay, it's okay. Wait, anong sinabi ko? Ang ganda na sinabi. Wait, um, I think you were parang nagko-conflate ka dun sa term na ontology,
Hindi,
knowing that I
ang
exist,
inaano ko,
and
yeah,
no, no, no.
ang ina-argue ko doon is yung assumption ontologically that you exist in order for you to know that you actually exist.
I'm sorry, what? In order for me to know that I actually exist, no, I know that I exist because I think. You get that? My utterance of the word "I think"
Yes, yes, yes. Yes,
doesn't
that's
have anything to do with that.
that's on the epistemological side. Pero yung pinipress ko kasi doon is yung assumption mo sa ontology mo. When you utter that you know, you are already presupposing your ontological existence. Right?
Yes, when you utter,
Okay.
but
Problem solved.
ontologically, okay,
You're,
sige, okay, problem solved.
'di ba? Oh, 'di ba
Okay,
ontologically,
sige.
you are already presupposing your
No,
existence.
no, 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 no,
But
no, no. You're
no,
going
but
back.
in knowing no, but in knowing that you exist epistemologically, you know that you exist because you think.
Yes,
Pinapakita ko lang yung
that's
distinction
ontological.
dito.
That's ontological. Yun yung
Hindi,
ontological.
you know.
Yes, I know because it's inferred
Epistemology.
by the fact that I think. Ah, wait.
Okay.
What were we talking about?
Hindi, sabi mo, on the epistemological side, you know that you exist because you think.
No. Yeah, but
Okay.
it necessarily follows ontology. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Sorry, Miss. Okay. Yeah.
But that's fine. Okay, I think it's a very interesting topic.
I love the
Okay,
conversation. Thank you so much.
yeah. Pero at least I hope, Erehis, sa pinakita ko sa iyo kanina na difference, how I justify
Mhm.
my knowledge of my own existence versus from your justification of the knowledge of your existence. I hope na makita mo yung distinction
Yes,
na
yes.
na we have outside and yours doesn't have. I
Yeah.
I hope okay.
Yeah. I
I
think you
hope
can
that's
also
clear.
appreciate the fact that I want to stop where I can verify, and
Mhm.
if unless you can verify that extra mile that you're going with, your presupposition, the top of I think, then yeah, I would
Hindi,
definitely rethink my position if.
hindi, of course, that's your position. I don't have anything to add on that. Kaya nga ang labanan natin dito is internal worldview critique. So I demonstrate my internal consistency, you demonstrate your internal consistency. So so if God made man in his own image and likeness, God made man as rational and moral beings, able to know things, then therefore human beings are capable of their own knowledge of their own existence. Ganon, kumbaga ganon lang siya kasimple na ina-approach ng Christian without being circular. So I hope you appreciate that answer.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's still ultimately circular. I'm just stopped at where I can verify. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay.
Uh,
Sorry.
ang kulit mo rin, eh, no? Kasi palagi mong mini-mention na of course, my justification, again, my justification in my own existence is not circular in and of itself. But
In your own existence, but yeah.
yeah,
The
but
justification
again,
itself.
but again, the epistemology, the source of my knowledge outside of my own existence, that is indeed circular, and I don't deny that. But that
Yes.
doesn't mean that doesn't
But that
mean
doesn't mean
it's
it's real though,
false.
as well.
No, that doesn't mean it's false.
Yes, and that doesn't mean it's
Kapag
real as well.
of course it's real. That's just your
That doesn't
assumption. That
follow.
that doesn't mean or that
That
doesn't
doesn't
follow.
that's also your assumption.
Well, kung kakayanin pa ng oras natin, kaya kong sayang kasi magta 30 minutes na, but siguro sa susunod
30 minutes more.
na
Next time na lang.
na conversation natin. Wala pa kasi tayo doon sa very deep philosophical conversations in regard to how is Christianity true. At yung sa sinabi ko sa umpisa, that Christianity is true by virtue, uh, Christianity is demonstrably true by its affirmation, both in its affirmation and its rejection. That if you deny the truth or that Christianity is true, the worldview that you are holding right now leads to absurdity, which is
Yeah,
hindi ko
but
pa
again, that's yeah.
which hindi ko pa
Okay,
na
we'll
demonstrate
go to
ngayon.
that.
But
We'll go
we'll
to
go
that
to
later.
that some other time. I
Hopefully,
think
hopefully.
for the getting to know, Erehis, siguro cut na natin ngayon. I hope you enjoyed our
I
discussion, and I
did
hope
actually.
I hope na hindi ako yung klase ng Christian na pwede mong matawag na banjing-banjing na Christian, and Kristiyano na hindi nag-iisip, Kristiyano na irrational. I hope na hindi ako yung klase ng Kristiyano na na-meet mo na magkakaroon ka ng ganong klaseng ano tawag doon, impression. I believe that Christians are commanded to be rational and truthful at all times. So yeah, thank you so much for your time right now. So anything anything na pwede mong sabihin sa ating mga audience na nanonood ngayon?
Um, yeah, thank you. I know that Christians will remain Christians. They will all hold to their worldview, and atheists will, I think, not. I don't think simple conversation would change their minds. But
Yes.
I hope we can allow ourselves to have proper conversations without actually,
Just like this.
um, yeah, like this one, without actually being, ano, tawag dun,
Hostile. Hostile with
yeah,
one
being
another.
hostile, yes, without being hostile. And my aim actually in promoting this type of discussions is just to normalize atheism. I don't want to convert people. I'm not on that type of
Hardcore.
business. Yes, I'm not out to convert people. I'm just here out to normalize our views and let people understand that we are not demons, although my avatar says otherwise. But yeah, we're not necessarily demons, or we don't necessarily hold the view of Satanism or things like that, or all the negative connotations that are attached to the word atheist, and that we exist. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much for your Closing statement. So sa mga nanonood sa amin ngayon, and I hope you learned something from us. I hope na nakita nyo yung beauty of having a very meaningful, fruitful conversation despite of having a very different views. And not only that, strongly disagree with one another. So, yeah. So, thank you so much for your time, Erehis, and see you next
Thank you,
time.
thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much talaga. I enjoyed. Bye-bye.
Yeah. All right. So, ayun, that's the conversation. And of course, hindi matatapos itong program na ito nang hindi natin na ipoproclaim ang gospel. Although na short tayo sa ating oras, no, we have not presented the argument from the impossibility of the contrary. But yeah, if the Lord permits na ma-invite ulit natin siya dito. Actually, siya yung nag-invite Care for a Debate. But in a formal sense, ako na yung nag-invite sa kanya dito sa platform that may nag-i-exist pala na the Christian Worldview Project. So, yeah, if you are an unbelieving person until now, uh, lagi mo tong tatandaan that a rejection of the Christian God will lead to what your belief right now to absurdity. Regardless kung gaano ka talented sa logic, it will surely lead to absurdity. Now, I don't want to brag about our conversation kanina, pero sa nakikita ko sa comment section, marami ang nakaspot. Now, this is not on a personal level kay Erehis dahil wala na siya dito. Marami ang nakaspot sa absurdity ng kanyang mga sagot. But of course, granting the truth of his belief, he will deny that, of course. And the same thing na mangyayari at nangyayari sa unbelieving worldview. So ano ang hope mo? Ano ang hope mo? Wala kang ibang hope kundi sa ating Panginoong Hesukristo lamang. Jesus Christ died not just to save our souls sa eternity in hell, but also to save our thinking. Upang ang ating thinking ay mabago. Galing tayo sa depraved thinking, foolish thinking, lustful thinking. At once na ikaw ay naligtas, na born again, your thinking change. Nagbabago ang iyong thinking. Dati hindi pa nagko-conform ang iyong thinking the way God thinks. Now, ikaw ay isang Kristiyano, you are commanded to think logically, to think consistently, and to be truthful at all times as much as possible, di ba? Thou shalt not lie. So, ibig sabihin, kailangan maging truthful tayo at all times. And sana na-appreciate niyo yung conversation natin ngayon, and I hope meron kayong natutunan. And if you continue to rebel against God sa mga oras na ito, it will not be a good ending sa buhay mo once na dinatnan ka ng ating Panginoon. It could either be dinatnan ka ng Panginoon sa pamamagitan ng iyong kamatayan or dumating na ang Panginoon ngayon. Who knows? 1 minute, ilang seconds. So ang panawagan ko pa rin is repent of your sins and put your trust in Jesus Christ. He alone saves. Ang kanyang dugo ay hindi na sayang. Dumanak ang kanyang dugo para sa kanyang mga piniling tao at hindi yun masasayang. Hindi yun masasayang. So put your trust in Jesus Christ. So thank you so much for watching. Once again, if you haven't yet, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future content. And if you are gracious enough, so for your benevolence, because we are upgrading our ang tawag dito, equipment sa the Christian Worldview Project. Of course, nais natin maka-raise ng fund. If you are kind enough, you can actually support us by sending your benevolence sa GCash na nakikita ninyo sa banner below. Okay? So, yeah, keep us always in your prayers. And I hope ma-invite pa natin siya. And I hope, sana talaga, meron kayong natutunan how Christians answer atheists in a very relaxed sense. So God bless you all and have a great day. Bye bye.